Welcome back to Heartful Watercolor Art. My name is Marco Franco, and today I'm so excited to share with you a full recording of our most recent watercolor class at the Southpark Regional Library in Charlotte. This session is a bit longer than usual because it lasts about an hour and 40 minutes. So it's recorded in real time, just as we painted together during class. So if you would like to follow along, take your time and enjoy the process. We'll be painting these beautiful pansies, and you'll be able to see the full demonstration from start to finish. I'll also be showing you the final reference image right now, so feel free to take a screenshot before we begin. Also, just a quick note, you'll notice my voice is a little louder than usual. That's because this was a big class with nearly 50 students, and I wanted to make sure everyone could hear me clearly across the room. It was such a joyful and vibrant group, and I am so happy to share this energy with you through the video. Let's paint together. Light as not to transfer the image. So it's difficult to tell you the exact pressure we need to put. And bottom line, if you see it very black, don't worry. It's fine. We're gonna work with it and it's gonna be beautiful. Actually, mine, this is the one I created, turned out to be very black and it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm giving it also a little bit more of time for others to join the class. So everybody should have now one piece of paper, one reference, and your carbon paper. Let me get my carbon paper. Just 2 seconds. Do you think we need another table? We have plenty of space. Okay, we are gonna let everybody set in before we begin. Meanwhile, please make sure you have one carbon paper. Make sure you have one piece of paper, the watercolor paper, and your reference drawing. Now, look, the carbon paper has two sides, okay? We are going to make sure that the one that is darkest, it's facing downward. The one that is darkest is facing downwards. Yes, the one that is a little bit whitish or opaque, it goes upwards. So look at how I'm gonna do it. First, I have my piece of paper. And then, look, I have one little trick to show you. The carbon paper, I am going to take it to the upper left corner, okay? So I am going to match both the upper left corner, the paper, and I am going to try to center this a little bit. I want you to see the space on the top and on the left. So this way the flower, it's not all to the edge. I'm gonna repeat that for everyone, okay? Number one, I'm gonna do it again in case somebody didn't see it, okay? So first, I have my watercolor paper. And then I have the carbon paper with the blackest facing downwards. And then I am going to put them in the top left corner together, all right? And then I am going to set my reference drawing a little bit below the edge, not completely in the corner. Do you see how there is a space between here and here, on the top and on the left? Everybody following? All right, now this is very, very important trick because we don't want this to move and I didn't want us to use tape. We are going to put our hand at the bottom. Hand at the bottom. Do you see my hand there? All right, so we are going to start tracing and remember. Oh, can someone please turn on the lights? Please, please. There you go. Awesome. Okay. Now, we are going to trace everything. Please listen. There are details in this flower that we need to trace. Like, I'm going to show you. Like here, Do you see a small petal that is kind of twisted? Do you see it here? So that white area, I want to make sure we draw it, okay? So actually, I am going to start there. Please, everybody see it? Everybody see it, all right? So I'm gonna start there, and I'm gonna start from the center, not pressing super, super hard, but I am going to go around this, and by now, I should not move my paper anything at all, okay? Should not move it at all. And then I'm gonna keep going, and I am going to start tracing all the petals. They don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be perfect, but I make sure that I don't move my left hand just to make sure that the paper doesn't move, all right? And very, very carefully, I am gonna go on tracing all the different petals in the areas where I see purple, all right? So do it slow, take your time, enjoy the process, and trace everything that you see. The only thing you are not going to trace is the small veins or lines of the petals. Don't trace that. I just want the shape, the bigger shapes, like the petals and the areas in purple. Those are everything that I want to trace. If anyone goes, oh, I committed a mistake and it moved, don't worry. Turn the paper to the other side and start again. Just make sure that you don't move your hand and you keep tracing until you trace the complete 2 flowers. Be very, very mindful of every, I call it, frontier between petals. And remember, petals are not perfect. Petals are kind of pointy. So we can do that, it's fine. As I said before, if you write very hard, a lot of black will go through and it's fine. Just try to do it lightly. Don't do it pressing a lot, all right? I am gonna keep talking so that you get focused on it. Then we can be chatting, no problem. I just want you to please first concentrate on all the bigger shapes, including the petals and the purple areas, which is the most important lesson today when we'll use the colors. And meanwhile, I want to say thank you everyone for coming and joining the class. I am so happy to seeing you all. Thank you for doing homework. I am very proud of the work you are doing. As you go on practicing more and more and more, you are going to be mastering the use of watercolors. Mastering the use of watercolors, it's about learning how much water I need to use when painting something. So, congratulations to everyone for coming and keep learning this technique, which is beautiful. Going back to tracing this flower paper, make sure that you trace everything, including the stems, before you move your piece of paper. And I want to tell you something. If for some reason you forgot tracing a little section of the flower, it is absolutely fine. Do not worry. It's gonna be okay. Just try to get as best as you can. I'm gonna remove mine so that you see it, and I'll show you. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Go slow, enjoy, take the time.
¿Cómo le haces para que no se esté autoenfocando?
Okay. Enjoy it. I'm sorry because my camera is adjusting a second. Just a second, please. Keep going, please. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Laura. That's really nice. Don't worry. Don't worry. That's really good. That's really good. Okay. Keep going. Please do it slow. Take your time. Don't worry. And even if you use both sides of the paper, and you tell me, Marco, I'm not happy with my both sides of the paper, I'll give you another piece. Don't worry. So that you feel that it's okay. So take your time. It really doesn't really matter. If you have a pink pencil, a purple pencil, because we are just using the tip to transfer. Please keep going. Take it slow. Thank you. And we will start in a minute. Please keep going, keep going. When most of you have finished, I will show you a mistake I committed just to show you how I will fix it, okay? But please keep going, keep going. And also, because when you finish, I will ask you to compare both images and see if you see differences, okay? So I'm gonna wait until most of you complete yours. Meanwhile, while you are doing this, I want to say, we only have 2 classes left. Oh, but the next one is gonna be super fun, because in the next class, we're gonna have real flowers, physically flowers, and we need to use that for painting, all right? So every class, we are advancing. Thank you very much for coming. And also, just what Laura was showing me, when probably she set her hand on the carbon paper, it transfers some of the carbon. Don't worry, it's part of the piece. Don't worry, it's fine. It's totally fine. But that is outstanding. Outstanding. Good job. I love it. Good job. Love it. That is outstanding. Very good. Very good. All right. Everybody's done? Everybody finished? Okay. Before we have mistakes, I want you to please pass to this side your carbon papers. Let's put the carbon papers on the side, because we don't need to use them, and Adan will pick them from the edge of the table. It's just that we use water, and we don't want to create a mess with all the carbon paper, okay? And you pick them, Adan, please. Okay, before we start, I want to make sure that I compare both images, and I am going to show you. I had the very same thing. I also transferred some of the carbon paper. It's fine. When you do it at home, I know you're going to be using maybe a window and you won't have this, but this is not bad. Don't worry, this is not bad. Now, when I compare both images, I want you to see, look at this petal. I didn't draw this line. So with my color, I will just complete it, and that's fine. Because these colors that we are using, these are watercolor pencils. What that means is they dissolve with water, okay? When I'll put water on top, they'll dissolve. So I want you to please take one moment, just take a moment and try to see where you are missing one line. I found another line that I'm missing. This one, I'm missing a line there. So that is the second one I'm correcting. And you're seeing there, oh, look, and I am missing all this purple area that I didn't trace. So I am going to add this purple area. I missed that. That is why I want you to please be mindful and take a look carefully at your images. If you are missing one line, just make sure that you get it. The whole time, while we are going to be painting, I am going to keep my reference on the left, always on the left, okay? And then I'm gonna be using 2 brushes, one thick and one small one. Listen, I know our student brushes are not like the professional quality brushes, but they serve the same. Just, do you remember that I told you, when you paint fine lines, you have to see the tip of the brush and not the paper? I want to remind you, when we'll get to that point, because it's by the last part of the class. It's in the second hour. We're not gonna use the thin brush in the beginning. But when we'll get to that one, we need to put our eyes in the tip of the brush, not on the paper, because that will make sure that I see what I am drawing or painting, the lines, the fine lines I'm creating. Just remember that. All right, so we're gonna use the thicker brush, the one that you have in your station that is there. We're gonna use a thicker brush. I am going to put my color wheel on the top because I will make reference to it. If you have it handy. If you have it handy. Remember, from now on, we should always, from now on, even if you are on your own, carry one color wheel. Because you remember, the colors that we want to contrast are in the opposite side. Or when we want to create shadows, we use the opposite side. So we'll use it today even more. All right? So today, I am going to be using these colors. This pinkish violet color, please see it in your palette. It doesn't have to be exactly it, but there is a difference between this pinkish violet and red. What is the difference? I'm gonna show you, just so that you see it. Yes, that one. So this is red. Can you see it in the camera? This is red. I am not going to use red. Okay, so everybody please see where you have the pinkish violet color. Second, I am going to use yellow. What yellow? Lemon yellow, not bright yellow. What are the difference? My lemon yellow, it's more opaque. This is bright yellow. So I am gonna use lemon yellow, which is more opaque. I am gonna put it again in the camera. I'm gonna use this one. Please see it in your palette. And not the very, very bright one. The bright one, I'm gonna put it on the side. Why? Towards more the orange, exactly. More towards the orange. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. And let me say this. If you go, I want to use the bright one, use the bright one. No worries, no worries. Next one, it's just that I want to give you the 3 main colors that we're going to be using, okay? I am going to use, additionally to purple, because this is purple, a violet. Can you see the difference? This is purple, and this is violet. So it's a little bit lighter. So I am going to use purple, and I am going to use violet. All right? Yes, yes. So if you don't have the exact colors in your palette, it's fine. It's totally fine. I just want to give you a reference. All right? Now, one last color that we're going to use today, black. We are not going to use a lot, but we are going to use some of black. So I am going to put it on top. All right? I am going to put it on top. I know you cannot move it in your palette. I just want to see it. Now, last but not least, I want to use old green. Do you remember in the last class I said, this is not bright green. This is old green. So I want to use old green, and I want to use any green you want to use, but that is lighter, not dark. So I'm gonna use this one, all right? These are all the colors that I'm gonna be using today. Let me see what time is it. Very good, we are right in the right time. Now, we are not going to wait. We are not going to wet the paper, because we are going to paint petal by petal together, all right? So I am not going to wet the paper, and I am going to do it very patiently, starting with the fun one, of course, where we see the purple, because we all want to get there, and I want us to lose the fear of the purple. Just one thing before we start, and before we start wetting our palettes. Hey, I know when we start painting, we want to go and paint everything. You could, but I want you to please follow me in the process so that we learn the technique and then you can fly solos. All right? Very good. So I am going to start first by wetting my palette, and I typically put my hand there and wet everything, okay? And I spray a lot of water, not just a little, a lot of water. But I put my hand there to not wet the paper. So I am not working with a wet paper. So which is the petal we're gonna start painting with? Again, one that it's fun, because we need to lose the fear. We're gonna start with this petal, okay? To painting this petal, oh, let me bring one thing that I don't have handy. Just a second. Just a second. Now, because today we are going to be creating these differences of volume, now we need a space where to mix colors. And to mix colors, I am going to use this section of my palette. So I'm gonna put it here, all right? Just let me rearrange this a little bit. I had forgotten about that. You have in your palette space in the lid of your palette to do it. Before I create a mess, let me just remove this a little bit. And I am going to use this section. Let me see if you see it. Yes, you see it. Perfect. This is perfect. All right. I'm seeing in the camera. Yes, everything is fine. So I want to use one lid because I am going to start painting this one. Look, I am going to first wet my brush, and I am going to pick this violet color, and I am going to add a lot of water in my lid, and I am going to start painting slowly this one petal. I don't want to paint more than this one petal. And if you see, it's very transparent, very transparent. All right? While that is happening, I am going to pick a little bit of the yellow that I have, and I am going to put it on top, on the edges. Remember, we are going one by one, all together. On top, on the edges. Can you see in the camera? Do you see the color? Do you see that I'm adding a little bit of, on the edges, I am adding yellow? And if you need to wet your palette again, all right? So I used first the violet very dissolved with water, and while it is wet, I painted on the edges of the petal with color yellow. We are still painting the first one, all right? So, while I am looking at this petal, it is very, very wet. That is why today's class, if you need something there, can you please go see? What are you missing? But she needs a bottle of water. Can you please hand the bottle of water? Thank you. There you go. No, you're fine. You're fine. While this is wet, we are all there. This is wet. The fun starts. Listen, with the tip of my brush, I am going to pick a little bit of purple, and looking at where the purple begins, I am going to start dabbing a little bit of purple, a little bit with the tip. Please be mindful. I am dabbing with the tip, just a little bit of purple. Are you seeing it? And I pick more purple, and I am dabbing. Listen, at this point, the water, it's starting to spread. It's fine. We want this effect. This is the most beautiful effect of watercolors. But listen, don't go to the edge. Don't go to the edge of the petal. That is why I am doing it slowly, getting closer to all the sections where purple goes. I'm gonna make a pause there, and very briefly, I am going to go through some of your workstations to see how it's going. Very nice, Laura. Very nice. Very good. Very good. Don't know better. Very good. Very good. Oh, very good, very good, very nice. That makes me super happy. Don't go to the edge. Let the water play. All right. Just dab it, dab it. Just dab it. Okay. Now remember, when watercolors dry up, when they dry up, they become clear. So it's fine. Don't feel that you have to do it all at once. No, 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 no. We don't have to do it everything at once. This is a process. This is the very first layer. We are gonna create more than 5 layers. So don't try to finish it at once. This is the first layer, all right? Now, as you can see in my example, in this side of my petal, there is a puddle, okay? Like water stuck there. I am going to make sure I don't add more color there, because if I add more color there in the puddle, then it'll be muddy. So I'm gonna respect it. I'm gonna honor it. I'm gonna keep it there and wait until it dries a little bit more. Do you see it? Probably you don't see it because I know the quality of the camera, but here is where I see a puddle. If I want to remove some of the water, typically what I do, and I showed you in a previous class, I do this. I grab one piece of napkin, I create one curl, a small one, and then typically I lift water. Did you see it? So that removed my puddle. So I try to have these little curls of napkins on the side for the time when I need them. Now, as we said, and we are painting together, we have not finished there. As the water starts settling, we need to add a little bit more of purple while it's moist. So I am going to add dabbing more purple from the root of the petal, just dabbing. Hey, don't go to the whole section. See that I am starting at the base of the petal, all right? And I am not going to go all the way to the purple section. I am going to stay kind of there to create the dimension of the lightest to the darkest color, all right? We are painting one petal. Today's class, it's slower because we are gonna paint this whole thing, okay? So while I am seeing this petal is settling, I am going to add my secret color just to add the depth, and that's black at the root. And this is what I do, making sure that my black is wet. Very, very carefully, I dab just there a little bit of the black, just at the root of the petal. I pick black and I add black just at the root of the petal, and I let the water do its work. The water will spread it. If you see it, the water is spreading it. It does not have to be exactly it. It does not have to be the same. I want you to practice being calm to apply different layers. And this is still not a layer. This is the base of the petal. All right? Actually, I'm gonna let it sit there until it dries up, but I want you to follow this together with me. All right? So, I want to let this petal rest for a little bit, and I am gonna be very mindful this is wet and I should not put my hands on top. So I am going to paint the petal on top. But to paint this petal, I make sure my brush is very clean, because I am going to go back to using this violet color, which is the star of our painting today. I am going to add a lot of water to make it very sheer, very transparent. And when I add a lot of water and make it very sheer, I very, very carefully and slowly, I start painting the top petal. with this color. I start painting the top petal. And remember, since we are working with moist, with everything that is wet, before it dries, I am going to go back to my yellow color, which should be wet, or I spread water in it, and I add yellow color in the center and a little bit there. And I let the water do the work. I don't have to push. I just dab the yellow color. I just dab it and let the water do the work. It does it on its own. So now in the upper petal, we have the pinkish, very sheer, transparent color, and I dabbed a little bit of the yellow color from the root of the petal. All right? Very good. Now, I want to keep going. Now that I know the technique, I am going to let this rest for a little bit. I am not yet going to create the darkest colors there because I know it becomes tricky. So I'm gonna keep it there as it is. Everybody should be seeing something similar. I'm gonna keep using the violet color, but I am going to use the violet, very, very sheer color to paint the petal on the left. Okay? The transparent violet color, the petal on the left. Being mindful that the petal at the bottom, it's still very, very wet. Okay? Being just mindful. And same thing, while this is very wet, I am going to grab a little bit of yellow and I am going to dab from the root of the petal some of the yellow. Just a little bit. Just a little. Because if you see, these petals have like this effect that they combine the yellow with the purple. And this is very, very wet. And yes, as you learn the technique, we want to use purple in the left petal, but I wait just a few seconds. Just a few seconds, because if I start seeing puddles or where water is settling, I wait a little bit for that to dry up a little bit, to water to absorb it before I keep going. Meanwhile, this is very, very important. Like if you see the petal on the bottom, enjoy it. Enjoy seeing how the colors are spreading naturally as the water moves. This is the most beautiful thing of the watercolors. All right, now I see that my petal is still moist, and I am going to pick the purple color, and I am going to paint dabbing from the root of my petal, this purple section, but dabbing with the tip of my brush. Remember, I am not spreading my brush and the paint. No, no, no. I am dabbing. And since it is still very, very wet, I am gonna use that wetness to dab more of the purple in this section at the root of the petal. I didn't go to the whole purple section. I just did the root of the petal, and I let the water do the work. All right? Everybody following? Everybody having fun? Good. All right. Good. I don't want it to be stressful for anyone. I want you to enjoy it. And sometimes I shift my voice tone so that you start relaxing as well. Okay, just the beginning is like, ah. All right. Now you saw the technique. The technique is dissolving the violet, the pinkish color to create a base, and then dabbing color. This, please remember, it's the most important part of painting with watercolors, being patient. We don't have it. I don't have it either. I'm super impatient. But that is why painting with watercolors helps us so much to take a moment, relax, and think. All right, I am going to go to the pedal on the right. And to go to the pedal on the right, I make sure that I grab some of the paint, of the pinkish paint, but I add a lot of water because I want it very transparent. Remember, very transparent. So when I have that, I am going to start painting the pedal on the right, being mindful where there are some clearer sections, okay? Sometimes if it is very, very intense, the color, I can grab water directly from my jar and I start painting almost with just the tip of my brush with this pinkish, very dissolved color. And you know the trick. We are going to go to our yellow color, making sure it's wet, and I am going to dab from the center of the pedal upwards, not upwards, to the side, just a little bit. And you see how this creates already a mixed effect of the two colors combining. Sometimes we think, oh, if I add yellow on top, it'll just convert everything yellow. No, if you dab it, the colors will combine. And there will be frontiers of colors, but kind of smudged, as you can see on top, okay? So I just added a little of yellow at first on that right pedal. We are painting pedal by pedal, all right? Please remember. And while this is very moist, I make sure, and this is for everybody, I make sure that I even turn my head on the side of the table and see if there are puddles, if there is water stuck there. Because if there is water, I just want to be mindful where the water is. Like in my example, I have water there, but I'm not gonna remove it. I'm just making sure that I see where it is, because if I was going to put color there, then it creates mud, okay? So I just try to see where it is. But where I want to work, it's really at the center. I want to work where the purple color goes. So yes, now I see it's moist, but it's not a puddle in the center of the right pedal. I am going to bring, again, my purple color and very, very carefully just dab from the center or the root, from the root of the pedal upwards in the section where it has purple. That's enough. Do you see? I just dabbed it. I just dabbed purple. And it even looks beautiful how the purple starts going everywhere and combining with the yellow. Oh my God, I love it. That is why I enjoy so much painting with watercolors. And while this is still very, very wet, I am going to grab a little bit more of purple, and just at the root of this petal, I am going to add a little bit more of purple, just at the root. There. And I'm gonna let it rest. In a few minutes more, I'll go see your work, but before that, I want to paint the last petal of this one flower. And I'm gonna say this, the second flower we are going to paint, we will add one different color, so wait please, don't rush please. Before I go see you, I want to paint the last petal left there behind, which I'm gonna tell you, that petal, I like calling it the grandma. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because grandmas are there expecting to be seen, like, okay, but they don't bother anyone. They say, okay, it's fine. So let's not forget it. But you know what? They are always watching. So we want to paint the grandma of our flower with a lot of love. We're gonna take the time to paint grandma, all right? So don't rush it, work with grandma. This is very, very important. So I am going to pick my base color, which is a dissolved And do it very lovingly. Remember, like grannies. Very lovingly. Okay? Typically, we have the family pictures. They say, oh, we forgot grandma. No, we should not forget grandma. Okay? Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, we love it.
All right. So, I am going to say now that I'm going to pick a little bit of the yellow, although it doesn't have a lot, but grandma deserves to have some of the yellow as well. So I'm going to dab just a little bit there, just a little bit of the yellow. And I am going to add no purple to grandma, because there is no purple, because we want grandma to be shiny and always happy. So that is why I also love this flower reference of this class. Honor to all our grandmas, those who are in the room that are grandmas, those who are not with us anymore, loving grandmas everywhere. All right, I am going to go around the room to see where you're going. This is the first section. Very good. I'm so happy. Woo! Wow. I am so happy. I'd like to keep going. Very good. Very good. Very good. Lovely. Lovely. Very good. All right. I am happy to see it. And sorry if I walked behind you in some of your aisles. Lovely. Very Spot on. Oh, I'm so happy. Are you enjoying it? Very nice. Oh, very nice, baby. Very nice. Darling, that's beautiful. Very good. Very good. Wow. Oh, fantastic. Very nice. Can I tell you something? Class, it really makes me cry. But cry in emotion of what you are doing. Because you know, the first classes we had, of course you feel like, where are we going with this? And like I've been telling you, 40% of the work is like, oh, this is going nowhere. So it's the same. When you start taking the classes, it's like, oh, where are we going with this? Oh, it seems like it, but it's not like it. But now, this is fantastic. All right, so we are gonna do the same. We are going to go to the second section, but I want to say this. I'm gonna give you a break of 7 minutes, all right? So if you need to stand up, go to the bathroom, change your water. It is very important to make sure your water today is clean, okay? So if you see it's fine, it's okay, that's okay. Only if you see it very black, but I see water is fine. 7 minutes. ¿A qué hora regresamos nosotros? A las 11. Ya los viste, qué bonito. Ya viste todos los trabajos. Date una vuelta. Está súper. Ah, sí. Show it! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at this! No, you're doing an amazing job. It's just you're very good. Usually you work with it. You want to keep going, keep going. That's the whole thing. Yes, just a second.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you fear because it's stain on your hands? It's I love your flower. Good job. Hey, Justin. Good. How you been? How you been? Good to see you. Oh, let's see. Oh, you did too. Love it. Look at that. This is beautiful, and you really capture the essence of the sun. This is very yellow. And if I use the purple on top of this yellow petal, it will all complete be purple. So I need to wait. This one, I will wait. All right? I won't use purple. Remember, on this one, I won't use purple from the very beginning. Just wanted to create the base. Another important thing to tell you, just so that you remember, and we saw this in a previous class, if I clean my brush and dry it a little bit, I can actually lift some of the color from just the edges, just to create a little bit of dimension in the almost to the edge of the petal. And it continues being yellow, okay? But I created some dimension by lifting some of the color from the edges. Now, I'm gonna say something. Because we are using carbon paper, yes, the yellow may become a little bit darker because we are using carbon paper. It's fine, don't worry, it's okay. But when you are going to create an important piece and you want to transfer it, either use a window or if you will keep going more and more and more, try to get one of those lamp tables, that is small one, and transfer it in your desk. But this is only if you are gonna keep going with it, okay? Last thing that I will say before I keep going is this. Some people have asked, Marco, is it valid if I always transfer my drawings? Yes, for sure. Don't worry, no rules. So that was the last thing. While I've been speaking, you also notice the yellow petal actually dried up enough as to go with the purple. But I'm gonna do it very carefully, very carefully. And you know what? Actually, I am gonna do it with a smaller brush because we are in a more sensitive area. So I'm gonna pick the smaller brush. I am going to bring purple, and you see, it immediately spreads. So with just the tip, I am going to make sure I only paint, dabbing the purple in the sections where it needs to be purple, but very, very carefully so that the purple does not spread everywhere, okay? So be mindful, just be mindful. But while I was speaking, it allowed me for the paper to dry a little bit. Very nice, very nice. Don't overdo, don't get frustrated, just dab the color. Don't overdo. If you start seeing puddles of water, remember you have your curls of napkin that you can pick lift. You can lift some of the paint or some of the water. But I think it's fine for now. I am going to put my smaller brush on the side. I'm gonna go to my bigger brush. And I want to let it sit there. I don't want to mess with something around it because it's beautiful. So I'm going to work on the petal on top. And to work on the petal on top, I already have my bottle with the violet color, but it was very, very sheer. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of color to that bottle of violet color. And very, very slowly, I am going to start painting the petal on top. And if you feel you need to adjust a little bit more of the violet color, add more, it's fine. Just follow me. And remember, we are painting petal by petal. It works. And as you start placing the purple color that actually it's very close to the upper flower, you immediately see the difference of the colors. Immediately. You see like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. Very good. To make sure that I don't overdo, I wait a little bit. I see if it's moist or if there are puddles. If there are puddles, I wait. I definitely wait. Wait for what? For adding the purple color. Now, something very important that you will notice is this. In this section of this petal, we have some purple color. But if you see, it's a different tone. It's more towards this pinkish color. So we're gonna use a little bit of purple and a little bit of the pinkish. And I'm gonna start with the pinkish, okay? So I'm gonna start with that, and I am gonna grab my smaller brush, the one that I have available, and I am going to pick some of the pinkish color, just dabbing in the section where it needs to be.
Are you picking it up right from the...
Directly from the pan. Yes, I did it. I picked it directly from the pan because it was very wet. But the most important thing is that you dab it, not paint completely, just dab. And you can get close to the edge of the petal from the flower on top. It's fine. You're totally fine. In my case, I am seeing I have puddles, but I don't want to rush. I'm going to wait also while you do it. I'm going to wait a little bit for the paper to soak or absorb some of that water because I want to paint the purple color. The purple color, if you see, it's here. It's not everywhere. It's here. It's there exactly where it's darker. It's here where it's darker. So I want to wait just one more second. I'm not gonna blow on top of it. I'm gonna wait just one more second. And why? Because if I wait, the color does its own work. It spreads with the water, and it creates a beautiful, beautiful finishing, velvety finishing. Because these pansies flowers, if you touch them, they are velvety. So we want to create that. All right, so now I see my puddle is gone. So I am going to pick some of the purple, and I am going to work slowly in the section where it needs some of the purple. It's not everywhere, remember, it's just in this section. If you see your reference, you'll see your reference. It's very, very similar. And actually, in the very, very tip where the two flowers are together, it's even darker. So what do I use? Just one dab of black in there. Just one dab of black, and I let it sit there. I don't spread it. I don't move it. I just dabbed. And you can immediately see the difference between the flower on top, the flower on the bottom, and the very, very dark color where the two meet, okay? All right. While this is spreading and resting, I am going to go back to my petal at the bottom, okay? The yellow one, because we have not finished. If you carefully look at this section, there is a little bit of darker color. So I am going to grab the purple again, and while this is wet, I am going to dab just a little bit of purple, just a little bit, but it needs to be moist, remember. It needs to be moist. for the water to spread naturally. I don't push it, neither pull it. I just dabbed some of the purple just for the water to do its own work. I dabbed some of the purple there, and I let it sit. The details of those little lines coming outside, we'll do it at the end. At the very end, we are not there yet. We are just creating the base color. Very good. All right. While all this is resting and you see how these colors are moving, I'm fine with that because the darker color moved a little bit around where the two flowers meet. It's fine because it actually creates a difference. I am going to go back to my bigger brush, and I am going to work on the right petal. So I bring the base color, which is a violet color. I do it slowly, mindfully. I start painting the complete right petal. And I say mindfully because if I was gonna touch the petal on the bottom, it immediately will pull some of the dark color, and I don't want that. So I do it very, very carefully, I paint the right petal. And while this is wet, you can see there is yellow color there. So I go back to my yellow, and from the bottom, from the root of the petal, I add some of that yellow color. And I let them mix. Again, because we are using carbon paper, sometimes the yellow can be a little bit contaminated with the carbon paper. If you trace it with one day with a lamp or in the window, be mindful to make your lines very, very light, not very dark, okay? And while this is taking place, I am going to apply the very same technique, and I am going to go for the purple color and start from the root of my petal. And actually I dabbed once because it's very, very wet, so there are puddles, and I don't want it to spread a lot. You see that? So I dabbed only the purple at the root of the petal and let it work. And I let it there. And I don't worry. I try not to move it so that the purple will spread, and it's fine. If it spreads even more than it should, I am not going to mess with it. I'm going to enjoy it, like what's happening right now. If you see it, it's happening right now in mine. Why did it happen? Because there was a puddle. There was a puddle of water. So when I put it there, it immediately, boom, goes everywhere. So I said, okay, I'm going to enjoy it. It's fine. Now, very, very importantly, in this petal, while we are doing it, if you see, there is kind of a purple color at the contour of the flower. I want to do that, but in the next step, I just want to mention it. Don't do it right now. If we do it right now, it'll happen what happened to me with this color, with this puddle, okay? So I just want to mention, for your eyes to start seeing that the contours have a color, all right? Just wanted to mention that. You see how my purple color spread a lot, but I'm gonna enjoy it. It's fine. I am going to go with the left petal. Left petal, I am going to pick my base color. I am going to pick my base color, very mindful that if one of the petals neighboring to that one petal are still wet, you might bring some of that color. It might bleed, and it's fine. I mean, it's not bad. It's fine. It's part of what watercolors is. Just want you to be mindful. Like in this case, if you see, the center should be clearer. So I am going to lift some of that paint that came to it. And I am going to lift some of this purple because I don't want it super purple yet. I want it yellow, actually. So I'm going to bring yellow, and I am going to add yellow there. from the roots of my petal. And if it goes up, it's fine. It's okay. You know I can lift some of that color slowly, some of the color on the edges. But if you like how it looks, you can leave it. It's fine. It's totally fine. I think that is one of the main tricks, I will say tricks of the watercolors, that we get fearful when we don't paint often or when we are learning to use watercolors, that the colors start mixing and moving around and we feel like it messed up my piece, and it does not. We just need to be mindful if we want to leave it or if we want to lift some of the paint to create a different effect. So it's fine. Mine, it's still very, very wet. I am going to wait just a couple of minutes. Again, I'm not gonna blow on it. I'm gonna wait a little bit. And then I'll go to the purple color, but I don't want the purple to happen exactly what happened on the petal on the right, so I'm gonna wait better. Meanwhile, I know what I can do. I can work with Grandpa, okay? You know which is Grandpa? Which is Grandpa? This one, right? Because we talked about Grandma, and we always forget the fathers or the grandpas, and they are kind, very, very kind and soft typically, right? They are the ones who actually play a lot in the scenes of our families. So let's play with Grandpa there on the right. And because grandpas are typically bigger, they tend to be a little bit bigger, so this grandpa is bigger, Granny was smaller. So I'm gonna start painting that grandpa. And like I showed you before, we need to use a hint of the pinkish color that we used in the beginning. So the center of the flower, not the center, excuse me, the root of the petal, I am gonna start with some pinkish, but dabbing. Because if you see, it's very wet and it immediately starts spreading everywhere. So I do it very, very carefully, just dabbing. And as I dab, I see how far the paint goes, because when I see how far the paint goes, it's how wet that petal is, how wet that section is. So I like that. I like that. And as you've been working with me on this petal and this flower, I am on to pick some of the purple color and very, very carefully dab at the root, just at the root of the petal, the purple color, and I dab to let the water spread it. And it kind of creates two different colors, as you see, or intensities of the color. And mixing intensities of color, it's what creates volume. Mixing the light and the dark, it's what creates volume. It's very, very wet, but I want to use this moist that I have there with my smaller brush to bring just a dab of black and put it just at the edge where I notice it should be a little bit darker, just a dab. And I let the water play with it. I don't pull it, I don't push it, I let the water play with it. It's fine. Remember, we have not yet gone through the veins, drawing the veins of the flower, and that's at the end. That's at the end, not right now. So I can play with the color there. It's the base of the color. I'm fine with that. While this is happening and taking place, there is one part that we have not noticed, we have not done, and I'm gonna do it because we are gonna go back to the upper flower in a minute, okay? So, and what is that? It's this center of the upper flower. That center is yellow. So I'm gonna do that center now that it's dry. And it's a very, kind of a very intense yellow. So I'm gonna let it sit there. Very good. While you're doing it, let me make reference to this. When we paint with watercolors and we want to paint like more in this style, not the free, loose style, as I always like teaching, you go on by sections. Paint a section, then another section, and you keep going on and on and on until you finish your piece. That is how watercolors work. All right. To advancing towards now having to add details to our flower, because there are plenty of details we need to add still in our flower, I want to make sure I paint the stems. And to paint the stems, I am first going to use the old green color, but I am going to put it in my palette to dissolve it a little bit, so I don't want it super intense. And with the smaller brush, looking at the tip of the brush, not at the paper, I am going to put a drop of water and I'm going to pull it. And I am going to pull it slowly, slowly, and slowly, just there. So I pick a drop of water and then I pull it slowly, slowly, slowly. This one needs another drop of water and I'm gonna pull slowly, slowly, and slowly. First, one of the green colors. And as I said before, when we mix different colors, it's what creates the depth or the dimension on our objects. But right now, I cannot add another green color there because it's very wet. So that is why I wanted to start with the base color, which is the old green. Old green. I call it the old green, you know, but it's olive green. Very good. By now, most of us should have covered almost everything. And we are now going to go for the details. I'm going to go around the room. All right, I'm just gonna walk around the room. Some of where I can. You know what? I picked these flowers because there was a mix. Well, I like picking these flowers because there's a mix of very simple colors that create a lot of the work for learning how to use watercolors. I hope you are enjoying that. Very good, very good. Okay. All right. So, all right. Here it comes, one technical side of our flowers. It's not done yet. We are at maybe, I will say, 70 to 80%. But you will wonder, like, no way, really? It's just that we are still missing all the details. Which details? The contours of the flower, which, let me say this, I want you to do it slowly, don't rush. You've done such a beautiful work that you should not rush. And even if you feel like I'm not gonna finish it right now, it's beautiful as it is, but I'd rather you not to overdo something after you have something so nice. Okay, so please listen. I am gonna show you now more of the technicality. when speaking about technicality, we need to still add more volume to some of the petals. Let me show you which ones, but please see here. This petal, it's not completely pinkish. If you see, it's darker in this section, okay? We need to create that. And to create this darkness, we have to slowly moist that section and then add a color. I don't just add a color. So I have to moist the petal again. Why do I have to moist it? To create that section which is darker. But before we get into that, this is more of the technicality, we need to create the dark color. And how do we create the dark color? Let's use the color wheel. Opposite colors. Let's see. If this petal is, I'm gonna use this like it's purple, because I don't have the complete hue here to see it, but it's purple. The opposite color can be orange, okay? This is tricky. If I want to create a shade of this one, I use a hint of orange. It's not that the color will become darker. The color will become a color that contrasts as a shadow. But let me show you the example. Please wait a second before you do it, because I want you to please see it first. I'm gonna grab a piece of paper. I am going to put it here. And I am going to bring color orange. Which orange? Not light orange, dark orange, okay? So I want to use these two colors. I'm gonna move this a little bit up, and I am going to use this, and I am gonna use it in this color, in this paper. First, I am going to put the base color, which we have been making, this is the base color of the petal, okay? Now I'm gonna show you the shade color of the petal. I am gonna pick that one purple color that we had used. I'm gonna put it here. And I am going to grab orange, just a second. I am going to grab orange, which is the opposite color. And it immediately doesn't look like it. Just a second. Let me add a little bit more of orange. And it creates a range of a different color that will give me the shade, okay? The shade of that color. If you see this color, it's very similar, but it's not the same. It's a little bit more opaque, the opposite color. Marco, can I use a different color? Well, you could use yellow, but if you use yellow, it's brighter, because yellow is brighter. That is why I use a darker color, and that is why I use orange. So the orange color will give me that effect. Now, how will that effect look in this? I'm gonna show you now. And we have to do it slowly. So we have done a very, very good work so far. First, listen. I am going to clean my brush first. And the brush being not super wet, I am going to work in this section. Just painting with water. Just with water in the section where the shadow will be. And I am going to pull a little bit of that shadow, and I am going to dab that color there. Just dabbing. I can move a little bit the paint, but not completely painting, just dabbing, because I want the water to spread it. So if you see, you can add other colors, you can experiment. I'm showing you just the theory, okay? And I like using the theory because it still looks colorful, but it'll give you the dimension we need in that petal. Now, it's not finished yet. We need to draw veins at the end. So, but I need to let it sit there. If you wanted more purpley, you could have done a mix of indeed purple, like this one, with orange, like this one. And it'll give you a similar color, even more opaque, okay? So you could use the pinkish or the purple with the mix of orange. Are they in the same range? Well, this is purple with orange. It's the violet, which should be here with orange as well. Any of the two will work. But the most important part, it's first with a brush not fully wet, create a section that is wet so that you can dab the other color. And it's just a section. It's just this section that I'll have it there. The very same thing, I am gonna do it on this side very slowly because there is another section where it's darker. And I'm gonna use this other mix that I created here with the purple and orange, but just to dab. I don't need more of that. Even if you saw that, that's very dark. That is why I don't like using that super dark. And it just creates the dimension of the petal. All right? Be mindful not to over-cover the yellow section. Be mindful to not over-cover the other colors. This is what it means creating layers, all right? And that is why we go petal by petal. When we are painting with watercolors, we sometimes have to take time to paint, sometimes in a few hours, to take it slow, if we want to go this detail. And that is why I like teaching both sides. Like the very loose that we finish in 15 minutes, and the very detailed that will take hours, because there are likes. Some of you will like this, some of you will like differently, like more loose. I am going to do exactly the same in this petal. If you see this petal has a shade here, and it has a shade here. So I'm gonna start with this shade, and I first make sure my brush is clean. I grab some of the water, and only with water, I paint the area where I want it to be shaded. Then I dab a little bit of the mix of the purple with orange, just a little bit, and with the tip of my brush, I dab this section just to create that shade. Okay? It doesn't have to be a lot. It's very important. It's just a touch. I'm gonna do the very same thing with grandma. Making sure my brush is clean, I grab some of the water and paint with water the root of the grandma petal, and then I grab a dab of the mixed color just to create some of the shadow of where the petals meet. And let me now explain more there. What we are creating, it's a shadow between petals. Because when we have a flower, the petals at the bottom have a shadow from the top. So we are creating these shadows, painting at the edges of the petal. That's what we are doing. Can you see how it immediately creates the dimension? How it creates the dimension, that because I'm creating the shadow on those places where the lines meet. Is everybody following me? All right. Okay, I'm gonna go around the room. Keep doing your shadows, and by now you can keep doing your shadows. It's fine, so that it dries up. They're just there. Do it. Don't rush. You are doing a very beautiful work. Don't rush. Sure. Adán, pásame por favor una servilleta. Por favor. Aquí están, a la derecha. Ve las mías. Just a second, I'm sorry for speaking. I'm sorry. I'm going to sing in English now. Sometimes I know these new things that we have for class are not as absorbent as the ones we use here. So I'm going to show you this. You are the ones we're going to do it together. Okay? This is what Susan is asking, just for everybody to know. Susan painted the shadow section of the upper petal. And when Susan painted the shadow, there was a very, very remarked line of the shadow. And she, of course, doesn't like it. She goes like, oh, I don't want it to be so marked. I want it more smudged. So I am going to explain how to smudge it, okay? And I said, these towels, of course, pick more water than the towels that we have. I'm sorry, but it's what we have for class. So I am going to create, and do it with me. I am going to create a curve first. Have it available, have your curve available. Just a second. It looks something like this. Okay, you're ready? Now, with your clean brush, and dry it first. Again, very good. Now you're gonna wet the tip of the brush slowly. You're gonna wet it slowly. With that water, you are going to paint the edge. Just the edge. Start with one side. And grab your curve and lift some of the excess water. Okay? I am gonna do it in the camera for everybody to see. Okay? Is that fine? But start with one side, and if it's too dark, lift it. All right? I'm gonna do it on the camera for everybody to see it. All right, okay. I'm gonna do it in the camera for everybody to see it. And actually, I have that same problem here. It's not a problem, but it's something that sometimes we don't like all that much. First, I have a curl, okay? Second, as you can see in this section of my shadow, it's very outlined. It's very, very outlined. And I don't want it so outlined. So I first have my curl available there, and then I make sure my brush is very clean and dry, and then I grab a little bit of water from my jar, a little bit, and I go through the edge, to dissolve that frontier of colors. Let me actually add more water. I'm gonna go through the edge to dissolve that frontier of colors. And if I see it smudges with just the water, it's fine. But if I need to remove some, I use my curl and lift it, okay? And it softens the edge.
Oh.
Now, let me say something before I keep going. Depending on the watercolor brand you're using, that can be done or that cannot be done. And I'm gonna tell you, the very, very professional brands of watercolor does not let you do it. The most simple brands will let you do it. Like this. The most professional brands, they are professional. So it's expected that the professionals know better how to mix these things. For some reason. I know, it's very weird. And sometimes when we go, oh, I want a very, very professional set of watercolors, and then you buy it and you try, and it's like, no way! I could make with a $5 watercolor. It's very weird. Okay, now, we are getting close to finishing because we have just some minutes left. I am going to start creating some of the details that are important. These are veins, and I want you to be very, very mindful to not overdo. I am going to start with the flower on top, okay? And I am going to use let me wet my palette, just a second. With the thinner brush, this is bothering me a lot, and I'm gonna tell you, there is a shade here that I didn't add. I'm gonna do it because it's bothering me a lot. So I am going to create the water as I showed you, and I am going to pick a little bit of the shade color just to add this. It's just, let me tell you, it's just that it's very important adding these shades because it's what creates the volume and the flower, okay? So while I was saying it, I could not keep going. All right. So I added that shade. I am going to grab the purple color as it is, and I am going to look at the tip of my brush and not at the paper. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, immediately lift it, okay? So I'm gonna do it. And I'm going to take a look at the tip of my brush, and I am going to start creating just some of these lines. And actually the first ones came very, very hard.
What color are you using for the
Purple. I'm using purple. But you have to do it slow because they may end up becoming very, very thick. So I am just creating those lines and not the edge. I just finish it. But listen, do it very, very slowly. That is why I'm saying it's the last part of the flowers. Where it's more remarked, I am going to do the one at the bottom here using the purple color, and everything else is dry. This is also very important. Here we have some very marked lines, which I want to add because it really provides, I'm moving around it so that you see it. It really looks closer to the shapes we have there. I am barely touching the paper, but I am keeping my eye in the brush, not on the paper. In the eye, because I am literally painting with just the very few very few bristles of the brush. Yes, when you're at home, when you are painting professional, you can have the narrowest, the smallest brushes. Now we are trying to make what we can with the class brushes because it's fine, we are learning. And if you see, I added that detail and it immediately resembles the flower even more. And I'm gonna do the same on the other petals, and to do it, I am going to put a dab of the purple color, and I am going to extend. If you need to move your piece of paper, definitely move it around as you need it. I am trying myself to not move the paper so that you keep seeing what I'm doing. And I do it very, very slowly. Don't rush it. It's very important. Don't rush it. That's probably the most important part. And if one day you are asked to paint something and they ask you to be in the rush, better off take your time. Don't rush things. Here, look, I was missing this complete one. I was missing it. So I am doing something like I am shortcutting the process, but just for you to see it. But still, I am pulling the color just so that you see it, okay? And in the center, I want to make sure it's very yellow bright, so I'm gonna add there some of the yellow, just as a finishing touch. And the very same thing, I do it, as I said, don't rush it, we have time, and if you don't have time, it's fine. Like the edges of the flowers that I told you, it has some color. Look what I'm gonna be doing. I am gonna start with this one. I am going to paint with water. I paint with water, just the edge of the petal, the bottom petal. I'm painting with water, just the edge, just the edge. And then I grab purple with the tip of my brush and I slowly go around it. But listen, if you rush it, it can end up being very, very harsh lines. So you have to do it the slowest. Really, the details is what takes the longest when we are painting a watercolor. It's what takes the longest. And if you see, I painted that edge and it immediately starts spreading, and it'll become a little bit clearer when it dries up, okay? But I started with painting the edge, just the edge of the petals. I'm doing the next petal so that you see it. With water, only with water. And then with just the tip of the brush, I barely touch the edges. Don't fully draw lines. I just barely touch the edges and let the water do the work. You see? And it creates that. All right? With purple. With purple. Just be very mindful to paint with water first, all the edge. All the edge.
So we need to paint with water first.
With water first, yes, with water. And do it slow, because if you put a lot of water on the edge, it'll spread, and it's not bad. Remember, the watercolors will dry clearer. So like these ones that I painted, they'll dry in a little bit clearer, and it's fine. The petals from the upper flower are not so purpley, so you could use another color to do the edges. Like you could use the pinkish if you want, or you can even use like a mustard color. I'm just speaking a lot. It's fine where you are right now. Finish the first part. Don't rush, don't rush, don't rush. Go slowly, please. Go slowly. Go slow and look at the tip of your brushes. Okay, keep going, please. Again, as you know, our class is getting to the end, and as you go on seeing more shadows you need to add to the layers of the petals, take your time. And here it comes, one very important thing. The question, when do I stop? Stop when you feel you're fine with it. Don't overdo. Like if right now you feel you're fine with it, don't stop there. It's fine, it's okay. If you are someone who is like enjoying taking a longer time and the hours and painting, keep going, keep going, keep going. Just remember to not overdo. It's very important. Another important thing is I am very, very proud of each one and all of you today for what you've created. Truly, it's amazing. You follow the class very nicely. Congratulations. Very good. For the homework, please remember we have this flower, and I want to ask you, please do petal by petal. Don't try to paint it all at once. And if you see here, you are going to have to paint with a very, very sheer, transparent, purplish color. Purple, but very, very transparent, which means you are going to add a lot of water to create it. But paint petal by petal, because it's part of the process for learning watercolors. When you will get more advanced and experienced, you will do it fast. You will paint the whole vase with one color and you will take it in a second. Yeah, but then I'm gonna tell you, then you lose that joy. Then you lose that joy of just enjoying it, enjoying painting. So enjoy it, enjoy it. It's very important to tell you, I will really, really appreciate if you do this detail as the homework. This is the most important part, because if you see in the center, there are shadows there, and you will need a very, very fine brush. So if you can please do it with a very, very narrow brush, I'm gonna show you one. Try to do it, okay? Hopefully. And if you don't have it, it's fine, it's okay. Oh, where are my brushes? I have it there. I'm gonna show you the differences. Like, I have this brush which is smaller, but there are some that are even smaller, okay? They are inexpensive. Believe me, they are inexpensive. And if you have the chance to have a smaller brush, it'll help you always to create lines. So try to have a smaller than this one. They sell them even at Walmart. Just buy one very inexpensive one, $1 brush, but get a very narrow one. Because I will really appreciate if for your homework, you will be mindful about the center of the flower, which you will first have to create with a very, very sheer green and yellow, and then working very slowly each one of these lines. Same thing with the bud. Look at the bud. Look how the bud has this smudged dimension. You are going to have to first paint with a very sheer green, and then you will have to go on creating with a darker green. So only with a very small brush you will do it. Last thing, creating the center of the flowers, the darkest color, start by creating the points there, and then very fine lines, and don't rush. I'm sorry for giving you such a hard homework, but after you did this, it's necessary so that you really get the technique. And last thing I'm gonna tell you, after having done this, you can paint anything, truly anything. Because maybe this is the first time that you see like, okay, we're gonna smush it. After this, you can paint anything with watercolors. So when you will create these lines, it's very important that you have a very thin brush and create them slowly. Go in sections. Don't go all at the same time. Take your time. Turn the paper. Create the lines. Take your time. And I'm going to say the last thing. Even if you in this homework, you only work the most in the bottom petal and the center and one of the leaves, I'm going to be very happy. Because I know it takes a long time. I know, but it's homework, it's important. I don't want to stress you. It's very important. I don't want to stress you, but I want you to learn the technique, all right? Good. Just to finalize in this one, as you saw, we were creating some of those lines. Let me remove this. There are some veins as well in the other petals. How do I create those veins? Well, I am going to create those veins again with the shadow that I have here, with the shadow color, but sheeter, like more transparent. So I'm going to add more water. And very mindfully, I am going to start creating these lines, looking at the tip of my brush, not at the paper. And for that, you need to do it very, very slowly to really working with the tip of the brush.
What color?
It's the shadow color that we created with purple and orange, but very, very, very sheer. So you are going to have to add a lot of water to it. A lot of water. And again, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. If you feel happy, you're fine with it. I am doing it so that you also see the technique. While you are doing it, you will find things that you want to refine in your flower, okay? You will see things you want to refine. Like in my case, I am seeing that I didn't finish that center of this flower, and I need to create there some lines. All right. I'm gonna leave it there. I added some shadow as well at the center of the flower. And I'm gonna say this, homework, I'm gonna put the homework here. Just can you please remove this one? So it's not wet. Okay, so homework is gonna be here, all right? So when you'll be done Pick one. Thank you very much. Please remember when you finish, clean the palette. It's very important. Clean the palette, clean the brushes, and leave them on your table. Can you please, how do I do it? I would like you to see what everybody did, okay? But it's very difficult to create a circle. So I want you to please take a moment and very carefully with the water. Stand up in your place. Stand up in your where you're working, and you're gonna do this. And we're gonna turn around to show everyone what everybody did. Okay? But very careful not to spill water.
Sorry.
Be careful, just stand there, and we are going to. There you go. Because I would like you to see the others work. So we are first going to turn these two tables. Okay? These two tables are going to face each one. These two tables will face each one. These two tables. These two tables will face this way. These two tables will face this way. Please show you work. All right. Now these two tables. Please look at me. These two tables face this way. Tables. These two tables, please face this way. Okay, there you go. Now, this table, please lift it for the back to see you. Lift it for the back to see you. And you lift it for them to see you. Okay? Good job, everyone! Thank you. Thank you very much. Don't forget to clean your palette, your brushes, and let them on.